Hey everybody, Master here. Going to do a little bit of review of the auction house. This will help you how to price out items that you're looking to buy for your character and get the best deal for the gold spent. It'll also help you judge and assess items you have and how to sell them properly. So what I'm first going to do is we're going to look over here. Here's my character. Here's some things I'm currently working on. Let's start with Zunamasa's Pox. That's always going to mess with my speech. I'm currently bidding on it. I've bid on a few, as you can see. So here's one here, 9,000 DPS, 568 million gold. 3 hours left to go. That's probably going to go a little higher. That's a lot of DPS. Right now, you're looking at a budget that someone just doesn't even care what they're spending. They just want the biggest number possible. They have the gold, so they're going to buy it. We're going to talk about 3 different categories for characters. The cheap guy, no money. Intermediate guy, money to spend but wants to get the best deal for his dollar, for his gold. And then, of course, there's the guy that just spends. And the guy that can just spend is real easy. You want the biggest possible change in damage and life and protection that you can find for the least amount of gold. And you don't really care. So that's really easy to do. What everybody's going to want to watch out for is if you look at this ring, it says minus 1% protection. Why is that? I'm losing 93 dex. It considers that dodge possibility as protection. So really not losing protection. This is a ranged character. He never gets hit. So if you're never getting attacked, you're never dodging. If you're never dodging, that protection is useless. Melees, a little bit different. That protection can pay off a little bit. But I still give it very little weight with my barbarian because he's got like 8,000 armor and 800 resists, so he just reduces damage like mad. Now, let's look at this one. 10 million gold for 4,000 damage. That's a lot better of a deal. It's a super deal, actually. Right now, I'm just waiting to bid on that. I kind of bid on it to see what was going to happen. Put it in my little bid of watching. And this is something I'll try to snag later. It's got 4 hours left. I don't want to alert anyone. So let's go back to this Zunamasa's Pox here. This one's 2 hours left. This is the one I really want. I know it's not as much damage, but look at the affordability of this. It's right now only at 105 million for 7,000 damage, just about. So what we're going to do is we'll go to your Zunamasa's Pox. I want to upgrade this. This is bringing up all the Zunamasa's Pox. I don't want these. I want ones like mine, so I'm going to start with critical hit chance. I know I want at least 4.5, so I'm putting this on the bottom. Everything that you know of what you want at least of, you put on the bottom, because you know already. And mine has 32% crit hit damage. I'm just going to make 30 because I don't really care. It is big DPS, but I'm going to show how this is going to work. I want at least 60 resist all. I want to keep my resistances. And then I want intelligence. And then I'm not going to put anything in because I want to see how high it can go. It can go way up there. That's where I'm going to get damage. Critical hit damage can increase up to another 20%, but anybody who's got that, they kind of know that it's worth a lot. So you're not going to see so much. They're still in here. They're still mixed in. So you can see them. But now I can increase my intelligence by another 100, and that's going to pay off pretty big. Hence why that's a 7,000 damage increase. So they want 1 billion gold for that. 7,000 damage. That's not a good deal. All you do is you go over to your calculator, put in 1 billion, divide that by 7, You're paying 143 million gold per 1,000 DPS. That's ridiculous. You know, even on a median budget, you're not going to afford this. We got to go to something more realistic. So we're going to look down. Oh, 568,000. This would be the other ring I was bidding on. 568 million. 3 hours left. Let's just assume it's 560. So, and we got 9,300, we'll say. Clear it out. 560, 123, 123 by 9.3. Now you're paying 60 million gold per 1,000 DPS. That's alright, it's kind of high. Let's look around for a deal. Let's keep looking around. What's this one? 200 million. Okay. 4,900 DPS for 200 million. Do the math. 200, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oops, I think I did it a little extra. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, by 4.9. Now you're paying 40 million, 41 million gold per 1,000 DPS. Things are getting a lot better. Here's one for 150, 4,600. You know, it's not as much DPS, but it's also not as much money. What was that, 4.6? 32.5 million gold per DPS. If you have a budget, but you're looking to get some max gains, this is absolutely the best way to do. If you're a fresh 60 and you have the money and you have a build, the first thing you want to do is figure out how you want to play your character and how you want it to work, and then you want to find out how to make that happen with stats. So we're going to assume you have all that, you have cruddy gear on. You can start looking on the auction house now and start going, where am I going to get my DPS gains, how much money am I going to spend. You find a couple things that look the same, you use this formula to find out which one's actually the better deal. You have to keep in mind your life and the protection factor. So you really have to know what's protecting you and how much life you need. So if you're around 40,000 life, that's the minimal for most people to do any kind of serious monster power levels. If you're at 60,000 life, you got a lot. You can lose a little. You don't have to take that into the equation. So if you're looking at something that's giving you 10,000 damage but you lose 2,000 life, it's probably worth it. Especially if you're socketing, because you can just replace a damage socket with a life socket and you'll cover that life lost. You'll lose a couple thousand damage, so really that 10,000 damage boost becomes 8,000 damage boost, but it's still 8,000 damage boost, and as you gain Paragon levels, you might be able to pull that socket out. You can bounce back and forth like this at will. So now that we've seen a couple of those Zunamasis Poxes out there, by the way, when I first looked, this 150 million one wasn't available. So I bid 200 million on this one. Why? It's not as good of a deal. So let's take 6.8 and divide it by 200 million. That's why. It's only 29.5 million gold per 1,000 DPS. It's a relatively cheap DPS gain for what I'm paying. I'm getting my money's worth. Currently it's only 105 million, so it's actually half that. With 2 hours left, if I steal it at 200 million, I'm happy. If I steal it for anything under that, I'm getting a steal. I'm getting a deal compared to everything else that's on the market right now. That's what I want. Because, you know, when I'm done, I can sell it later. I'll be able to sell this for 2 billion by the time it becomes that I'm going to quit or something, because everything's going to be 2 billion. But, you know, you get the idea. This is a pretty potent ring that's currently at a steal. You got to look at everything on there. That's all you have to do. Divide the DPS that you're going to get into the cost of the item that you're looking to buy. And that's it. Items with buyouts, you can just do it by the buyout because you're going to click it. You can apply this to anything. It just works. I didn't even apply this with Witching Hour. This is one of those things where I said, well, I have money, and this is the best Witching Hour on there for what I want. And so I just bid X amount and hope I get it. 250 million. So it's not really worth it. As you can see, I'm paying roughly 84 million gold per 1,000 DPS. Not a good deal. But I wanted it because it's the only thing out there that could actually boost me up a little bit, and it's got a good amount of armor. I'm lacking in armor. That's where that protection is coming from, and a little bit of dex. And I'm just working on my world ranking on Diablo Progress. So I have 250 million. I'll spend 250 million. It's not like I'm spending the buyout at 1 billion. Someone beats me, oh well, I'll start looking again. I'll probably get a better deal. I can get 2,000 DPS gain, probably for around the same 30 million gold per DPS. Of course, Witching Hour just carries, some items just carry an expensive weight. I was going for this Unity. Right now it's getting a little bit on the high end, 6,600. It's at 200 million gold, and it's got 17 hours left. This is going to go for way more than I want, so I'm going to look for a deal later once I figure out how much money I have left after these two. So that was Mac 2 Master, just reviewing the auction house on Diablo 3, how to make it work for you, how to judge whether or not something's a good deal. And oh, the only other thing I can tell you is when you deal with weapons, anything with a socket is worth a lot more DPS. On average, at around, say, 150 sheet DPS before the gem, it's probably worth 20 to 30,000 damage. You can work that.